Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to this week's midweek 180. A super busy week this week, but I am at home for the most of it. In fact, it is actually Wednesday today, an exciting but potentially expensive day today because my Porsche is actually in for a service at Porsche Centre Portsmouth today. So I dropped it off this morning. I've got a very nice Macan T courtesy car and I'm off back later this afternoon to go and pick it up. So fingers crossed, it's just the service and there's nothing else wrong with the car. But if you've not seen one of these before, this is my midweek update where I bring you my news, views and information about upcoming reviews, all filmed in one take. I'm going to try something different. Normally I would now put a 180-second timer in the bottom corner of your screen, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm experimenting with a midweek 180 that maybe is a little bit longer than 3 minutes. I'll still call it a midweek 180, but I've got quite a lot to talk about today. People always moan that I rush through things, so in the comments below, please put your feedback about this potentially new format. I'm going to maybe think about the Wednesday video as a slightly longer format, a more discussive thing, talk about stuff that's a little bit more time consuming. But I do have my list and we will still do the housekeeping. So first up, leader of the pack last week was Francois G. Well done, mate. Joined in the Magnificent Seven by Michael Kember, Lewis Hunter, Rod Matheson, Malcolm Brew, Paul Mead and Leanne Jackson. So whoever was the first comment this week, you'll be my leader of the pack next week, and the first 7 comments will be in my Magnificent 7. Where are you and what you're doing? That was Rick Yard 11, who was in the subtropical paradise that is Center Parcs Woburn. Not been to that one. I've been to the one up in Sherwood Forest. Quite nice, actually. Although I got chicken pox. But yeah, anyway, wherever you are right now and whatever you're doing, put it in the comments below and I'll give you a shout out next week. Last week's question was if you had up to £25,000 to spend on a classic stroke modern classic, what would you buy? I can't go through all the suggestions because there were so many, but there was everything from Ford Racing Pumas, MX-5s, TR6s. There was a whole host of really Honda S2000. So I really like that one. So we might do another question. I'll give you a budget. It's always a good game, right? Like, this is how much money you got to spend. What car would you buy? This week's question, I want to know if you've had any issues with potholes, because my Hendy Group long-termer, we hit a pothole and blew out 2 tyres, and it's currently at Hendy's trying to get the tyres sorted, which is very annoying. But I want to know, has that happened to you? And have you gone after the council because they haven't basically looked after the road and been successful? I would love to know that, because I've had lots of people say, you want to speak to the council and get them to pay for the tyres. I don't think it's going to be that easy in our case, but I'd love to know if you've had success in that one. F1 is back this weekend with the Bahrain Grand Prix. I want to know, have you started watching Drive to Survive? Have you managed to ration yourself? I watched 4 episodes of Drive to Survive on my flights to Finland. So I've got a few more left, but I'm now going to start rationing myself. But yeah, very good as always. But next thing I want to talk about, I think we need some funeral music. Yes, because there is sad times, people. I'm sure many of you've seen the news in the last week that Hyundai are stopping production of 2 of the greatest hot hatches that up until this week have been available. The Hyundai i20N and i30N are no more. They're going to stop making them. That's not to say they're not going to have hot versions of their cars, because at a similar time, about a week before, started dropping videos on the internet of the Ioniq5 N. There's a brilliant video of Chris Harris driving that car. But I kind of wanted to see what your thoughts were on that. And I know it's not the first of these kind of end of the line things. We've seen the end of the Audi TT, the R8, we've seen the end of Kia Stinger, we've seen the end of the Fiesta. It's sad times. But for me, I think those were 2 really affordable, attainable hot hatches, both brilliant in their own right. I think for me, the i20N is still one of the best cars I've driven, irrespective of price point. Couple of 100 horsepower, manual gearbox, limited slip diff, brilliant car. And it's to be no more. They're stopping making them. Anyway, moving on to a new car. Well, it's not so much a new car, but McLaren have released the Artura Spider videos this week. And the reason this excites me I think the McLaren Artura is a great car. I've yet to, I've driven one around a track, but I've yet to drive one on the road. But whenever McLaren do the spider version of their cars, they're the ones that I always want because I'm a big soft top fan. But one of the things McLaren do is they've got the little window behind you can drop down and you can still hear all of the engine noise, but still have the roof up and stay dry if the weather's not that nice. But it's upped in power to 700 horsepower. Interesting that you can, if you already have an Artura, you can take it back to your McLaren dealer and they will upgrade the power for you and upgrade to a few of the new things that are on the new Artura Spider. I think that's quite an interesting move. But yeah, amazing roof. They had to do quite a lot of jiggery pokery in the back to move it's got basically a chimney that takes heat away from all the turbo and the hybrid system, and they had to move that, and it quite a significant bit of work to do that. And it also has burnout mode. Why would you need burnout mode? Apart from it's just cool, basically. I guess it's a bit like line lock that they have on things like Mustang. I think the new 750S has burnout mode as well. Now, I will be driving 750S in a few weeks' time. I've got it on track and on the road, so there is a 750S video coming your way in the not too distant future. Renault 5 EV also broke cover this week. Hopefully by now you've tuned into my video that dropped at 9 o'clock on Monday. It's doing really well in terms of views. It was great to be invited to go out to Paris a few weeks ago now to spend a whole day at Renault HQ near Paris to spend time with the design team to really get under the skin of that new EV. And I said it in my video, I think even if you're a massive petrol head and don't particularly like EVs, even if you doubt about the whole EV thing, I think it's still a car that you might well think, actually, if I was going to buy an EV, that would be it. And that is borne out in the comments. Lots of you have said, I'm not really an EV fan, but dang, that's a nice car. So yeah, very, very excited to be able to drive that car. The bit I didn't put in my video because at the time of filming, I didn't know, price point wise, Renault are aiming at around about 25,000 euros. I thought it was 25,000 pounds, but it's not. It's 25,000 euros. So what's that? About 22,000 pounds. I'm sure once you put a bit of spec, it will be a bit more than that, but that's still, I think, a really good number. And then I wanted to mention about Drive Talk Podcast Live. Now, hopefully many of you join us on the Drive Talk Podcast every fortnight. If not, just search Drive Talk Podcast. Talk is T-O-R-Q-U-E on either YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, and you will find us. But we're doing a live event on the 15th of March at Bury BMW. Now, it's a ticketed event because we've got limited numbers. We can only have 50 people there, and it's only live once. So we will be recording a podcast at Bury BMW that afternoon with Tony Lewis from TRL Deals. And he was actually on a podcast we've recorded at the back end of last year, the one that basically we had audio problems with and weren't able to put out. We are going to record a live one that will go out onto the internet and you'll be able to watch on YouTube and listen to on podcast platforms. But then we're going to have a recording of a live one in front of an audience. But actually, we're not going to record it. We're going to basically have a podcast. We're going to do a live Q&A. It won't be recorded. The only people who will get to hear the stories and ask the questions will be the people that are there. So make sure, if you want to come, click on the link below. I'll put a link in the description and a link in the pinned comment. We are charging a small amount of money for each ticket because we're going to put on some food and some drink. So come along on the 15th of March in the evening. I think we're going to ask you to get there from about 6 o'clock. Come and meet me and Joe and Pat and Tony and have a really cool evening with the Drive Talk podcast team. And then finally, on Friday at 6, my video is drifting an EV on ice in Finland. Last weekend, I was in Finland with Nissan, and I got to spend a lot of time in a Nissan Ariya, which is a full battery electric vehicle, and a Nissan X-Trail, which has a very clever hybrid system, but they were both running the e-Force four-wheel drive system, and we put it to the test on the ice and in a snowfield and in a beautiful drive through the woods in Finland. Haven't edited the video yet. I'm kind of just getting my teeth stuck into it today, but it's a pretty special video, and I finish up the video by jumping into a frozen lake. We basically cut a hole in the ice and I go into the water in the dark while it's snowing. quite an emotional end to a video, that's for sure. But there you go. So that's the new format. I was able to put a little bit more in there, spend a little bit more time going through things because I wasn't constrained by time. I've been going just under 10 minutes, so let me know if you will prefer that content, that format, rather than having a 3-minute timer running. But if you enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next video, which is this Friday at 6 o'clock for drifting an EV on ice. Is it possible? Is it fun? Well, I'll give you a spoiler. Yes and yes. See you on that film, guys. You take care. Drive safe.